Here's a question from Cindy Lovelace's fifth grade class. This question comes from Arsene. What is your favorite book? I have a lot of favorite books. When I was a kid, I was a huge fan of the Encyclopedia Brown series by Donald J. Sobol. I don't know if those are still in bookshelves, but Encyclopedia Brown was this kid detective who could solve all these crimes in this little town. And each book, there were a bunch of volumes, but each book probably were broken up into about 7 or 8 different stories. And each one, his father, who was a police officer, would say, well, this is a tough case to crack, but these are all the clues that I have. And Encyclopedia Brown would look at the evidence and he would think about it and say, I think I have the solution. And I'd read every story and I'd say, oh, maybe I can figure this one out. Never did. I was never as smart as Encyclopedia Brown. I gobbled up all those Encyclopedia Brown books when I was a kid. And I always thought, if I became a private detective and I opened up my own private detective agency, I would, my secret alias would be, Donald J. Sobol. And then as I got older, I loved reading other books. One of my favorite writers is David Sedaris. My favorite book of his is this wonderful book called Me Talk Pretty One Day. Let's see, other books. Probably one of my most favorite graphic novels that affected me as a person, Gene Yang's American Born Chinese, which was a fascinating read. Being an Asian American myself, reading a book about the perspective of an Asian American protagonist in the story, it was fantastic. And it was one of these stories that really spoke to my soul and changed me as a person. So Gene and I are very good friends, and he was the one that inspired me to write my own memoir. We were talking one day and I was telling him about how much I loved American Born Chinese. And he said, well, we were sharing stories about the struggles of being Asian Americans, wanting to be writers, and how our parents wanted us to be doctors or engineers or lawyers or things like that. And it was Gene who inspired me. He said, well, you should write your own memoir. And so that's friendships spring up from your favorite books, things like that.